Ladies and gentlemen, our friends, our family, our good compadres around the world. It is Greg.
It is Matt.
And we are the Bottom Tier. Welcome back to a brand new episode. I'm very excited. Matt, are you very excited?
I am pumped.
Awesome.
I am pumped to be here. It's always a pleasure recording an episode with you, Greg.
Oh, man, the pleasure is mine. And that's the episode, everyone. Well done.
Well, hey, let's welcome to the show. If it's your first time, I think it's episode 10 now. So congrats on the feat. We did 10.
10 whole episodes. We're up to double digits.
Yeah, we did it. So if this is your first time tuning in, thank you for listening to the Bottom.
We really appreciate you being here. There are some great episodes in the back catalog. We recommend you go check it out because I guarantee you we're going to reference them. And you're going to miss that reference, and that's not a place that anybody wants to be in.
We might reference a lot. So we also have a YouTube channel, so check that out too. And yeah, that's our plug. Welcome to the Bottom Tier. We stay on the bottom, and that's where we belong.
It really is. We just played in an event yesterday, and we literally both went 0-0 until the very last round where we fought each other.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, we were playing Commoner, and Commoner is a time to play weird stuff.
Janky.
So I'm playing Talishar Levia.
Talishar Levia. What the heck, man? And it worked for you that one time.
Yeah, it worked against you.
Yeah, it did. Because my Ira deck is not a good Ira deck.
It's tough. It was just I lost a blood debt, and I'm just sad. And then it was crazy. It's Commoner is a lot of fun because you get to be able to do that. And I don't feel bad for losing a lot of the time, but it's guilt-free losing. It's
exactly.
I
it doesn't really matter. It's not like you went to a CC event and you really put a lot of work and money and effort into your deck and you're feeling really good about yourself and you show up and you realize that you're 6 months behind the meta, man, and everything is just doomed.
I feel like that right now, by the way. I feel like the meta, as soon we talked last episode about Prism being LL'd, I feel like this meta has shifted super fast.
Immediately. As soon as the news came down that Prism had formally tipped over the line, everybody just went crazy.
Oh, man. It is Guardian Central.
I'm very excited about that.
Oh, I know. I mean, that's the hero you decided to pick was Guardian.
I literally just built an Olden deck. So I'm excited. It was good timing, as it turns out, which is a rare event for me. So I'm super pleased.
So last time I was the meta player. This time it is Greg as the meta player.
Accidentally, though. I didn't choose to go meta. Meta chose me.
The same. That is how the Bottom Tier works. The meta chooses
nuts,
you.
Right? We're just over here having a good time. And
I liked Fi. Oh, Fi's the meta. Okay.
Well, congratulations, my son, says the meta. You're on top now.
But it's really interesting. But yes, Commoner is cool because there's no real meta. Or no one's really being sweaty. You get to go do stuff.
There is definitely a Commoner meta, 100%.
Yeah, it's called Use Arcane.
Anything that does arcane damage because no one, for whatever reason, brings their null stuff.
Or has it.
Yeah.
Commoner's great for new people, and yeah.
Yeah, it's just a nice, easy entry sort of thing. You don't need any of the fancy stuff. You don't really even need any of the good stuff. You just need stuff. And then, it's common stuff. So it's oh no, I have to pay 5 cents for an Oasis Respite. God forbid.
But it was good. It was good. Well, we played yesterday. We played the week before. It's been a whole week. Let's to our segment that happens every week. Lessons
learned, everybody.
Ooh, I like that. We might clip it every time now.
Right. We need a soundboard with some of these
lessons learned.
Exactly.
We should hire the voice actor that does Resident Evil. He's lessons learned.
4. No lie, I love Resident Evil, so that big check mark.
What if that just gave me another idea for a future video?
Oh, keep an eye on the YouTube channel, everybody. Matt's over here getting ideas.
But so lessons learned. This is our segment where we talk about kind of what helped us improve in Flesh and Blood as players, and kind of what we learned as players. So I'll start, I guess.
Yeah, please take us away, Matt.
So this week in lessons learned, it's tough because I feel like I've learned all the lessons. No, I'm just kidding.
I have mastered this game. I am the king of Flesh and Blood.
Honestly, I feel like I learned a lot yesterday playing Levia. managing blood debt.
Blood debt's tricky. As a former chain main, I feel you on this. I've lost so many games to the blood debt that it wasn't a problem last turn. Last turn, I cleared everything out of my banish zone. It's fine. It's cool. Everything is great.
Yep.
This turn, all of a sudden, there's like 9 blood debt damage. Cool.
I think my lesson learned wasn't just the blood debt, though. I think what happened was I honestly was practicing a lot with Levia, just doing turns on my own, understanding how to play. I didn't practice like a few days before, but I had it practiced and ready to rock and roll. And then as soon as I picked up the deck, it was like, oh, my brain just shut down. I have no idea what I'm doing here. And like, I think
deck fright.
I'm not sure if it was deck fright, but it was just like when you play a real life person, it's a lot different than like going through your head of what could happen, because you're now seeing what their strategies are, and you're like, oh, this is good by myself, but with other people, not as good.
Oh man, this guy just thought of something I never would have thought of. How do I counter this?
And like, even if you verse yourself with 2 decks, like you're gonna have some help, but you created that deck and your brain works different from other people. And so
100%.
I think my lesson learned is like, I just need to maybe get more reps in with practice against other people. So I've been thinking about checking out, not Tabletop Simulator, but there's that new like Flesh and Blood online thing. I think
which is actually pretty good.
Oh, I've been playing it.
Yeah. So full disclosure here, Matt and I and a bunch of other people playing this Commoner League online.
Yeah.
Most of it's webcam games, but my webcam has the graphical fidelity of a potato. So when possible, for my matches, I would use TTS or once or twice Flesh and Blood Online, and it's actually pretty good. There's a couple of like glitchiness things in it. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, that's all. Okay, cool. So I was thinking, like, I think I heard rumors that there's kind of like a quick match option now where you have your deck and you can go.
Yeah, just drop in and good to go.
Yeah. So I think like as I make new decks, I'm just gonna try it out against real people online first, and then I kind of have that real person practice.
100%. And then especially with trickier heroes like Levia. Like Levia is one of the hardest heroes to pick up and play. Like her whole thing is just like,
I don't know why,
weird.
From the beginning, like from the beginning when I was first getting into the hobby, I was just looking at blitz decks, and like my friend who was getting me in the hobby, shout out Andrew if you're listening to this, he was like, go Bolton. And I was like, okay, I'm going to listen to my friend, all that stuff.
It was horrible advice.
Andrew was not horrible advice. It taught me how to block, and I think it's great advice. Right? I think it's fantastic advice. But with those blitz decks, I was like, Levia looks cool. Like I always thought Levia looked cool.
Oh, man,
the
Levia
young Levia
cool.
or Levia. I don't know which way it is. But
who cares? We know what you're talking about.
But I like the art for the young hero, like on that blitz deck. I was like, oh my gosh, like bloody, like person horror, like it's horror, right?
Like with the period, like peasant clothing.
Yeah, and I was like, this
is, you really feel
like vampire. What is this? Like this
sorta,
is like, what is this? And then like now in like an abomination form where it's actually akin to Resident Evil with like the Ouroboros. But like I was just like, oh my gosh, like what is going on? So I've always like just aesthetically like Levia, and so I think being able to play it and Commoner is cool, but I also think like I'm just gonna make a CC deck and be like, I got this like aesthetically pleasing deck that I know I'm gonna get my ass kicked, but I just feel like playing this now, and that's kind of, I just like Levia for that.
And I respect that. See, like,
yeah,
we're the bottom tier, right, Matt?
Yeah,
we're just here to have a good time. So however you're having a good time, I support you in this. And folks out there, never let anybody shame you for what you're running, or like, oh well, this hero is terrible, or anything like that. Like if it's constructive criticism, awesome, cool.
Yeah.
But if they're just one of those guys who's like, well, that hero sucks, and doesn't actually like back it up with anything or like bother to explain anything or anything like that, ignore those people.
If you're brand new listening to this, which cool, welcome.
We're happy to have you.
But I always introduce people by the rule of cool, and I don't care. Like
100%.
I don't care if like the hero's like LL'd or anything like that, because I'm starting them off in Commoner. But I always go like, what hero do you think is cool? And so, for example, my sister-in-law wanted to play. She came and played Commoner last night. Shout out Courtney. I'll do a lot of shout outs today. But she picked Prism. And so I was like, cool. I'm not going to be like, this hero's and you can't play, because that's overbearing for a new player to hear. I was just like, I'm going to make you Prism. And then afterwards, she's like, you didn't tell me. I was like, okay. I'm sorry, but like, just pick what you think is cool and just go have fun and like,
right.
learn
And like
it.
when you're starting a new hobby or something and you go to somebody else
Yeah.
or they're getting you into it, the worst thing that you can be told is no.
Yeah.
You have to have the freedom to feel your way out a little bit, to play around with it a little bit, especially in a hobby like this, where it is very based upon what makes sense to you and what works for you and your particular play style. No is how you get people out of the hobby.
And yeah, and if you're interested, like I mean, introducing a lot of people who haven't played TCGs before, and so like I agree. And also, if you are familiar with TCGs and you know what you like already, like I see a lot of people ask questions of like, "Hey, I'm a control player from Magic," or I really like summoning from
Whatever the equivalent is. Yeah.
or like Darkrai is great in Pokemon. Whatever.
Does anybody remember Duel Masters?
Like whatever like that is, like then we can be able to help you maybe fine tune what deck you would really like to do. But literally just go off the aesthetic. It's actually a lot of fun.
And really honestly, like if the characters are designed in such a way that their designs are actually, kind of reflective of how their whole thing works.
Yeah.
So really judging by what you think is cool will probably drop you into almost the right bucket.
Yeah, for sure. It's really cool though. Like what I've noticed with a lot of new players playing. Sorry, we haven't done your lessons learned yet, but
We'll get there. Don't worry.
But what I've noticed with a lot of new players playing is a lot of people are aesthetically attracted to. I don't know, attracted is a weird word, but Briar. They're just
Well,
like,
I mean, Briar's hot.
well, Briar's great, but I mean, like not like attracted that way, but like Briar is like that edge of like that hero looks cool, but like to every spectrum, like everybody, like
Yeah.
it's always been like they always pick two heroes, and it's been like Katsu, Briar, Prism, Briar,
Bravo, Briar.
Bravo, Briar. And then like another person was like, it was something weird where I was like, I don't see the connect. Lexi, Briar. And you're like, okay, like
Really?
great. Like,
Really?
Yeah, it's like,
Like mechanically, sure. Okay, elemental heroes, cool.
Yeah,
Let's
but
go.
I'm like,
but
holy crap.
looking at them.
you're like, how is everyone like taking this and then also just landing on Briar? So I think Briar is like the most like cool looking hero. Because even for me, I was like, Briar was cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Like it's just good with
Yeah.
with the whole like nature aspect of it, and with, like especially on her young art when she's holding up Rosetta and it's
Yeah.
like ha ha ha.
The Master Sword. Is
Yeah,
the thing.
exactly.
The Rosetta Master Sword.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like that's wild.
Yeah. So Briar is the people's champion.
The people's champion. You heard it here first, folks.
There you go. Not Bravo. Briar.
Forget about him. Oldham, nah, get that out of you.
Briar.
Phi,
people's champion.
his rebellion is nothing. Briar, the Warden of Thorns, that's where it's at.
That's where everyone likes him. So, well, what about you? Lessons learned.
Oh man, for me the biggest lesson this last week has just been not to take things so seriously. I've been hitting kind of a difficult patch in my flesh and blood career. It's been a month since I've had a win in an actual thing. I'm doing bad right now. Like I'm getting my ass kicked all the time, and it's starting to really sort of wear on me. Like I'm feeling it. Right, like at the end of an event or something, it's that little nugget of frustration that you have in the middle of your chest, and it's because I'm sort of taking this seriously. It's fun. I enjoy doing it. I love making this kind of content and stuff with you.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy playing the game. But when you're playing against other people, and not just, around a table or something, you're actually, you've paid your money, you're at an event, you're actually doing stuff, even with, lower tier or lower pressure things.
Yeah.
Not having anything on the board by the end of the night, it feels bad.
Yeah.
And so the last few things I've been to, I've left and I've just felt bad. I've been discouraged. I haven't been, happy with it. I barely talked to my partner last night after I got back from our commoner thing because it was just all in my head about what the heck was going on. So for me, the biggest thing is just to not take it so seriously, understand that a loss is how you learn, and then take that and don't allow it to discourage you. Just let it inform what you do in the future. If you misplayed something, you can examine what you were doing and pick up the tricks from that. If the deck isn't working the way that you want, you can see what parts aren't working and adapt based upon that information.
Yeah.
So just getting in your own head and everything about it, it's not a good way to go about it. And so that's kind of where I am right now. Is like intellectually I know this. It's just a matter now of translating that into actual like actions.
I mean, Marshall talked about that last week on our podcast where he was saying, if you're new, just expect you're going to lose a lot, and that is your learning time, and then you're going to start getting some wins because you have a full understanding of what's going on. And like, it's true. Like, I think I've gone to a few more events than you have for sure. Mm-hmm. So like, I guess if you want to give me experience points, like that's where I'm at, you know? So like, it's not only been recent since I started getting some wins, you know, like doing stuff. And I think that's great, but like it was a lot of losses even with like a meta hero, right?
Yeah.
It was like, I got this meta hero. I'm here to like chew bubblegum and kick ass butts, like whatever it is.
And
whatever
I'm all out of gum,
yeah. But like it's kind of wild because I was just losing and I was like, man, I just spent so much money for this stuff.
Just to
I'm
lose.
losing. But I'm having fun and it does wear on you a little bit, but yeah, you're there. You're almost there. You got this. As soon as Oldham is finished.
As soon as Oldham is finished. As soon as I can do more than one thing a week, I feel like.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. As soon as you start doing two, you start doing good.
Right. Like this game is really one that rewards putting the work in and like doing the reps.
Yeah.
Like just playing games and really deeply understanding your deck and then the other heroes in the game so that you can play against it. So without, you know, getting those reps in without having that literal like practical in the trench sort of experience, there's definitely like a cap on how good you can get. And I'm not a competitive player by any means. Like I'm never going to go to a pro thing as like a player. I'm never going to be invited on any
We're gonna go.
things. We're going to go
to the calling.
Well, yeah, we'll show up to it.
We'll go. Like I think I want us to go at least once.
Oh,
like, we'll save up funds for next year, not this. This year,
oh,
cannot.
God, no.
You won't see us at Worlds. I was thinking about it, but I got something going on. So
it's awkward timing.
We'll get there.
We will get there.
We'll get there.
But you know, we're not going to end up top 4 at Worlds or anything. And I don't really want to, frankly. That seems like a lot of work and a lot of stress, and I got other things going on that I want to focus on in addition to this. I don't want this to be my entire life.
Greg, it'd be cool.
It would be so cool, I'm not going to lie. But, I'm an adult, Matt, with adult concerns. I got a job. I got a partner. I got pets.
I know, me too.
Taxes and other things that the guy in his early 30s
Everyone that
would
plays this
worry
game is
about.
our age, Greg.
Yeah, I know, which is really sad. But my point kind of is, even though I'm not that kind of competitive level of a player, I do still want to, compete a little bit. I want to be able to put up a decent fight, both for my own benefit and so that the people that I'm playing against, I can show them the respect of putting my all into it and actually making them work for it. Mm-hmm. Because I don't know about you, but for me, there's nothing worse than somebody who just comes in and like just jerks around, basically, like clearly not taking it seriously, not putting their all into it, throws a game or something like that. That kind of thing is it's insulting to you, it's insulting to me, it's insulting to everybody who puts the events on and all that jazz. Yeah. So I don't want to be that guy, but I don't want to swing too far the other way. I'm a very like middle of the road sort of player.
You want it to be like, I like versing Greg because like it's just enough competition to where I'm going to be thinking the whole time. It's not going to be like, I'm versing Greg. I can get that. I know what I'll be in the winning circle.
Right.
You want it to be like, I'm a challenge.
Done. Or oh God, I can't do anything. He's just going to steamroll me. Like, I don't want to be either of those things. I want to be the guy that people just like to play with.
Yeah.
But I also do want to win sometimes. Like, winning is nice.
Yeah.
I enjoy that. I like having the confirmation that I know what I'm doing and that I am learning and progressing and developing, and I'm not getting that. But so that's a super, super, drawn out way of saying that my lesson is just not take things so seriously.
I think that's a great lesson.
Let it be cool.
And
let it be chill.
And I think that kind of leads straight to the news a little bit. That's LSS's lesson. A lot is don't take things too seriously, because they just announced the promo coming out for the Road to Nationals. Did you see this?
No, I didn't see this.
The new promo is another Bard inspired car.
Oh no, I did see this.
Yeah,
everybody gets to like create a token.
Yeah,
and then
everyone
you get
creates a token.
A gold, a silver, and a copper.
Yep. So everyone gets to create a token, and the one thing that kind of dropped in there is there's a new token revealed that hasn't been out yet. called Ponder.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. I was just like, I thought I knew all these things, but all right.
Yep. So there's a Ponder token that's coming, and if it's in Dynasty, cool. If not, whatever. But maybe we're gonna finally see like York get some Bard support in Dynasty and see what that is.
If they actually like release a Bard class that people can actually like get and play, that could be super exciting, actually.
Yeah, be really cool.
Like that could be a heck of a lot of fun, especially since they've now, brought gold into the game. They've actually printed it. That presumably we're going to see it with some Dynasty heroes. So potentially we could be getting a Bard hero coming up.
That'd be cool. I'd love that. Throw a coin to your Witcher or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Shout out to The Witcher, I guess.
I don't know. That's like the most well-known Bard I know,
Pretty much. Geralt in Flesh and Blood. What?
Oh, another idea. We got a lot of those today,
right?
Yeah. So yeah, that was really cool news. Is they're dropping that, and I think it's LSS's way of showing like, hey, we're here and we're making this thing that's also like fun for us. Like we're building this Bard, and even though you can't play it right now, you can use it in Ultimate Pit Fight, and it's
because everything is legal in UPF.
Yeah, and you're going to be using it in the future of PvE perhaps, and we'll see what that set looks like soon. Maybe it's a hint that next year we'll get more PvE stuff and see that release,
which is really exciting. The PvE stuff, like Dynasty is great, and I'm super looking forward to Dynasty and all that kind of stuff, but PvE is what I'm like desperate for at this point.
Oh, it's going to be a lot of fun, so I'm excited to see what that is. And so that's a great lesson. LSS is telling us to do that. You're telling everyone to do that. Don't take it so seriously, even though it's like a serious game and you're playing for prizes sometimes, and it can feel that way. Don't let it beat you up too much, because you're making progress. Look for those little things to like keep going forward. Right?
And it's still a game. If you're playing it and you're not having fun, it's not a game anymore, it's work.
Right.
And we all work too much anyway.
I know. Don't make it work.
Have fun.
Yeah. So let's kind of go into the meat and potatoes of the episode, Greg.
Yeah, let's get some of that meat and some of that potatoes.
I kind of want to. I don't want to do another tier list for YouTube, but as I mentioned at the top, I want to talk about the meta.
All right, yeah, let's talk about the meta.
I kind of want to talk about like where we are thinking it's going to be going, what we're expecting in the future, and like maybe some underdogs or people coming down from the tier list and everything like that. If you haven't checked out our old tier list, it's up on YouTube. I don't think we'll do one this time because the meta's changed like really fast, and I think we might see another meta change really soon.
It's 100% going to keep changing a lot, especially in the next couple of months when Dynasty comes out, and we get because there's going to be the Emperor is going to be new. There's the other one that they've revealed the art of, who's going to be new. Mm-hmm. We may or may not get a third one. I don't know.
What I'm really we talk about too. What I'm really hoping from Dynasty is feel more Crucible of War, where we just have an onslaught of new heroes that are rares,
just like 9 of them. Yeah.
Like we have Shadow Runeblade back, and
please,
like
please.
We have pretty much some of the stuff that's missing back, and all that stuff, and then we have some adult heroes in there that are just like full prints, and that's what you can have and be able to go from there. So I think I want it to come back like that essentially.
Yeah, and that's pretty much where I am with it too. But
and make them rares. I don't want everything to be legendary.
Yeah, no. But even if they don't do that, even if they just do a couple 3 things, then that's going to shift the meta around a lot. We saw with Uprising. When Phaedra and Icelander, released into the broader game. Icelander had been, before a little bit, but when she actually got her full release, it shook things up. People were rebuilding decks that they'd been playing for a long time to counter Phi or Icelander or whatever the matchup was good or bad for. There was a lot more additional thought, and with the set, of course, came cards that could be utilized with older heroes.
Right.
So
that can shift things too.
Right.
Like exactly. We do know Azalea is coming with something that's going to shake her up and be potentially better.
Exactly. So no matter what we did right now, in a month, it'll be out of date. And then in a month after that, it'll be out of date again.
We'll probably do it at the top of the year, but I mean like
New Year tier list or something.
Yeah. But what I mean is like right now, it's just going so rapid with LL points, right?
Oh yeah.
We have Prism. And really, really close is Briar. Briar is 200 away now.
Briar 100% is going to be the next one to go.
Or is it, right? Because there is there is a lot of nationals going on right now. A lot.
Valid.
And so with that, like they get, I think, like 50 points a nationals, a hero.
Something like that. Yeah.
And so with the new meta, it depends on what's making you to the top consistently. Because, for example, if Oldhim is the new meta, because everybody has been saying Guardian is the new meta.
What have I been saying on this show for like the last 5 weeks, man?
Guardian.
I think Oldhim can do it. I think Oldhim has it.
And everybody is Oldhim, right? And if Oldhim, for example, everyone has that same line of thought and takes over and let's say wins 20 nationals. 20 times 50 is what?
A lot.
Like it is like, I don't know, 500? 500.
No, it's 1,000.
It's 1,000?
Yeah.
That's all LL points.
We're really good at math on this show.
I'm bad at math. I failed geometry like 5 times.
Dude, I did too.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah. But like that's all LL points. So if like the new meta is there and everyone finds out that this is the top here and nothing can really beat it, it could just be like, boop, this here's 100% after this month.
The thing that I think is going to stop that from happening is that I don't think any one particular hero or like class is particularly positioned to be dominant over everything else. I feel like everything right now, and this could change because like you were saying, the meta is shifting fast.
Yeah.
So, tomorrow it could come out that, you can do 80 damage with Oldhim all of a sudden and everybody just starts running that like they did with Stubby Fives. But really at this point, I don't think that anything is so strong that it's having like an outsized effect on things. Mm-hmm. So there will always be a counter to something. So I don't think we're going to see one hero like just light everything up and be the only one winning or anything. But I do think that we're going to see a higher proportion of certain heroes, even if they don't get that necessarily that higher proportion of success.
So that's why I want to have this discussion, is because the removal of Prism was the Guardian block, because Guardians were the predominant force in the meta.
Yes.
Then Prism came out. From my understanding, I wasn't here for it, but then Prism came out, had some effects that just stops Guardians in their tracks, making players be like, I can't beat that. There's no way for me to really do that, so I'm going to switch to something else. And now with Prism being gone, those people are returning back to those mantles to bring it back, and there's really nothing that stops it. And like Dromai is Prism, like it's an illusionist. Mm-hmm. However, it doesn't have the same cards that are able to just kind of stop. Because
Dromai's playstyle is so different from Prism.
Super different. Maybe a more balanced illusionist, arguably. I think Prism was a very fair hero, in my opinion, but that's a hot take for me. But but I think Dromai has interesting tools to be able to win. I'm not scared of Guardian with Dromai. Like, I do think Dromai was someone we voted for bottom tier out of the 3 Uprising heroes in our first episode.
Yeah.
I think Dromai is now top tier. Like, I think an A hero, because Dromai does have a counter to Guardian with Semblance and Ghostly Touch, believe it or not.
Man, Ghostly Touch versus a Guardian, like, you have to be running Ghostly Touch against a Guardian.
Pop, and like Phantasmal Footsteps, and you're able to be like, all right, cool. Now I'm going to hit you for 25 damage with Semblance. Have fun.
Good game.
Yep. So like that could definitely happen, and that's huge, right? Mm-hmm. And so like I do think Dromai can be able to win against that. People argue that Briar is really scary into Dromai because you can do Channel Mount Heroic, and then all your cards pretty much are 6 attack and can do pops. But I mean, I first a couple Briars already with Dromai, and you're really banking on one card to all of a sudden start defending.
Single points of failure never work.
Yeah.
The whole point of, a good deck, quote unquote, is a consistent deck. One that you know what it's going to do, when it's going to do it, and you can execute on it every time.
Yeah.
Relying on one card out of your entire deck that you have to get in order to play to get that advantage is going to sink you every time you don't open the game up with that card in your hand.
Yep. So I think that Dromai, first off, is going to be here. We're going to see a lot more opening and up there towards the top. I do think we're going to see Oldhim up there. I think we're going to see our Bravos up there. Mm-hmm. And I think we're going to see a decrease in aggro. So our Phi's not going to be up there. He's probably B tier, maybe C tier now compared to the rest of it. Because he can't compete. We will Dory rise up because of the Dromai. So Dory's going to be a counter there too.
Yeah, definitely.
And then I don't think we're going to see our Brutes up there because Guardians are just bigger Brutes, essentially.
And they do everything a Brute does, they just do it better.
Yeah. And so I think we kind of have our Guardian and then Icelander because and Kano is going to be rising up too, because Arcane against Guardians are pretty big. Dromai is another counter to that. So I think we're going to see that kind of, that's the new rock, paper, scissors is Guardian, Wizard, Dromai. Because like Dromai will struggle with Guardian. I'm not saying it's a win, whatever, but it's going to be able to be like, I am reliant on you popping a lot so I can pop off later.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to arsenal my semblance, and there you go.
Right, just have it in reserve. I do definitely agree with you that I think that the meta is about to slow down a lot. For the last like 6 months or so, it's rewarded that sort of very fast, very like go again heavy, very ninja style, hit him 9 or 10 times per turn. Sort of play style. I think mid tempo is going to make a big comeback. I think that control is going to get actually practical again. And so I'm definitely with you on that. I still think Briar is going to be the next one LL'd. I think that Briar is a flexible enough hero that you can do enough things with that hero and all the cards that she has access to, that regardless of who you're going to end up playing against, there's going to be something that Briar can do against that.
Yeah.
Whether that's really focusing on the earth element stuff and just, tank stuff and dish out one attack a turn, but it's coming in for like 7-8, or whether you go heavy lightning and it's just, sort of bringing that sort of aggro thing back. There's enough variety that I think that Briar can retain like the flexibility to actually be a true mid-tempo hero. And I think that's going to be very powerful coming up. So Briar usage may decline slightly, but I think it's still going to be pretty high. And I think we're still going to see a good amount of wins with her.
Oh, 100%. Like I do think that Briar, like after this national season, we could see that Runeblade be able to LL, and that would be huge too. That would shake up Runeblades, because that means Viserai.
You can't use Rosetta Thorn anymore.
Yeah, so I mean
that changes the entire way the class is played.
Yeah, 100%. And so that will make it interesting too. Balanced, I don't know, but it will make Runeblade not a predominant force, but I think Viserai will still have a place with Reaping Blade, things like that.
Or like really honestly, you could run it with Nebula Blade too, and find some success. Like it's
100%. Like I don't think it's like an end all be all, but I do think it was a huge part of like, oh, you got to worry about arcane damage with me, but you still have to with Viserai. So I don't know if it's going to be anything new.
Well, you really do with all Runeblades, but at that point, Viserai will be the only Runeblade left in CC.
Yeah.
Unless we get a new one in Dynasty.
Whoop, whoop. We could. But yeah, so I think like we're going to see another Living Legend happen at the end of this month, whether it be Briar or get really close with Oldhim, which would be a bummer.
Well,
or whatever.
Oldham's still pretty low in the total points, so we would really have to see like an explosion.
Well, from the words on the street
of Grandpapas,
from the words on the street, the Grandpapas are rising. Like it is like there's a lot.
Of course they are. I finally decided what flipping deck I want to build. And within a month, oops, nope, sorry, it's illegal.
I don't think it's gonna. I don't think the Living Legend, but I mean, like as we did the math, it's potentially there.
It could happen. It's a little outside. I feel like the realm of possibility. I think Briar is definitely going to Living Legend at least by the end of the year. By the time 2023, and oh my god, it's almost 2023. By the time 2023 rolls around, I think Briar is going to be bumped up to LL, so that'll be 2 Runeblades.
I think Briar will be end of this month.
Probably sooner, but I'm a cautious man. And then Oldhim and Bravo are definitely going to get some more points. Dromai is going to go up. People are still going to be trying to force Fi, and I think that Fi has enough good matchups. You're still going to see a lot of him, and he'll end up doing fairly well.
I don't. The thing is, being someone who plays Fi, like Guardian, rough.
Oh yeah,
so
it's
the way
difficult.
The way I was able to win with Fi against Guardian was running a totally different build than what everyone's used to, and it's taken out the Art of Wars. You're turning more mid range.
Yep.
You're putting in Tome, so you can go really, really wide, and you're potentially liquefying. And liquefy does not get used.
Nobody uses liquefy, but against a Guardian, Oldhim versus Fi. If you have a liquefy and you take the shield off,
not even just the shield, your Crown of Seeds.
Crown of Seeds gone. Really anything that punches a hole through the armor can be devastating.
Yeah.
Absolutely devastating. Yeah. So Fi definitely still has a place, but it does require people to think about it a little bit differently. But we're still going to see him. I feel like we're not going to see I really don't feel like we're going to see like Iyslander take off or Kano.
I do think we're gonna. I do think so.
I think we'll see more adoption of them. Like Kano, especially, has always felt like kind of like a very niche sort of hero.
Yeah.
Then Iyslander does too, to an extent, but I think we'll see an increase in sort of their visibility.
Prism was keeping back Guardian.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're going to see the Wizard thrive.
We'll see some more, but I don't feel like they're going to be as big a threat as some other things.
I think we're going to see Wizard be the new big threat after Dynasty. I think we're going to get a nasty Wizard card.
It depends on what Dynasty brings to the table.
Yeah.
We can assume that the Wizard support, along with the Warrior support, is going to be really good because they're releasing Emperor. And,
Right.
and they're going to have to give some good Warrior Wizard stuff out in order to make that even semi-viable. So we're definitely going to see some solid support for the class, but they're so careful most of the time about making sure that nothing really, stands out against anything else. Don't come at me, Starvo players.
Okay, I was like, what are you talking about?
With that one exception, and correct me if I'm wrong. People have been doing this longer than I have, because seriously, I've been here less than 6 months. I do not have complete historical knowledge about this. Please, God, tell me if I'm just telling stories. But it feels like they put enough effort into trying to keep things mostly balanced that really, honestly, I feel like we're moving into just a really well-structured meta. And Dynasty has the ability to make it even more of like an even playing field, depending on what sort of development we get for the stuff that's already in place and what sort of new stuff comes down. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to be very excited once November hits and we're sort of, working up to the release of that set, what some of the reveals and stuff are going to look like, because that's going to... it's sort of obvious, but that's going to kind of dictate for the next few months where things are going to be.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's going to help just min everything out. And it's going to be really a meta where you can do almost anything and have it be effective in some capacity.
Oh, wow. I mean, I completely, I agree with you 100%. Like, I do think that we're going to see that really dictate a lot of what's going to happen in the future. And I do think they've been really mastering that balancing skill. And it's true that all the stuff that's going to be created is going to create that meta that's going to be a little bit stronger, because I do feel like LSS has I feel like Uprising was like a mastery of the things of
Uprising was polished in a way that I feel like the other sets have not necessarily been.
Yeah. So based off that, I agree. And I know a lot of people probably don't agree with the draft take, but I do think that draft was made to be rock, paper, scissors, and it's very good.
It really was. It 100%
It just a lot of people decided to force Phi, But it's interesting on that take. I do think that we're going to see I'm excited for the meta shakeups and everything like that. I think the one thing I'm concerned about, though, is just I want to see our heroes that we just haven't seen in a while to show back up. We got our Reinars, we have our Dories, we got our Katsus, we got the heroes from Welcome to Wraith not be able to really have a lot of shine besides Bravo. And so Arcane Rising, like Azalea, I just want to see those heroes be able to get something more, to see more play, because I feel like they're either not interesting enough for people to play, even though I think they're very interesting, but they just, I don't know, there's something that's missing for them that don't get a lot of play. I want to see a balance of every hero.
Exactly. And to really make everything Bolton, and to basically make everything, viable in one way or the other. And then not just for CC, I'm really hoping to see that for Blitz too. Because you have several heroes, Volta Bright Axe, KO, the merchants, all of them.
Yeah.
Who are completely limited to Blitz. And in some cases, the merchants specifically, they don't even have any cards that are actually theirs. They're purely there as just a gimmick.
Yep.
So I want to see some development for those to actually, because that would shake things up. If you had, aggro, mid-tier, control, and then you have, Genus and Cavdine over here on the side, and they're just I'm just going to play 19 potions and, we'll go from there. And have that actually be a viable thing. I think that would be incredible.
I think it'd be really cool to be able to see 100%. And we don't even know all the heroes yet that are coming out. We mentioned maybe a new Shadow Rune Blade. We don't know who that new chubby mountain of a man is coming out.
Draconic Guardian.
Hey, that'd be crazy. I'd love
Nuts.
that. That'd be awesome. I honestly would be rooting for something else, but cool.
I mean, there's probably something else because that'd be horrible. But
I
at the
think
same
Draconic,
time, I feel like they're being janky enough with Emperor that they could get away with a Draconic Guardian and make it kind of an entertaining, like, meme sort of thing.
For sure. With Star Wars ability. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. Surprise, Royal Draconic Elemental Guardian.
Yikes. But,
yikes indeed.
Yeah, I'm excited for this meta, and I'm just like, it's going really fast now at this, and I'm excited to see what LSS is going to do to replace that. Because DM Armada on YouTube, I watched one of his videos about kind of a similar topic, but it was about LL points and how they're cruising really fast. So LSS, and something he said is like, if LSS is able to replace the same amount of heroes that are getting LL'd every year, it's going to keep staying good. But like, it's going really, like, we've had 3 really, really fast right now.
Like one right after the other.
So what are we getting in the new set? Do they have like a plan where it's like, oh, we had this already happen, or did we foresee that coming, or is it just like, we'll release it when you deserve it? Like, what's the plan? You know?
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm excited to see like how fast will we get a new chain? How fast will we get a new prism? How fast will we get an elemental guardian? Because they do have to make another one, you know?
Sooner or later, yeah.
But yeah. So that's what I'm curious about, and will we see in Dynasty? I don't know, but that'd be cool. So
it will be cool.
Well, I think, is there anything else you'd like to add, Greg?
You know, not for today, Matt. I think that'll pretty much do it.
All right. Well, guys, that's been our episode. Tangents on the meta.
Tangents on the meta. That's the title right there.
Tangents on the meta.
Boom.
Yeah. As always, guys, thanks for listening to the podcast. Make sure you check out our other stuff, and good luck. Have fun.
Bottoms up.